This episode of The Sculpt is brought to you by H40 Adventurewear, an all-new Carolina-born, American-made clothing line. Available to you at thetoyrat.com. Check them out.
What's up, Collective fam? It's your boy Tony the Toy Rat. We're here at Fayetteville Comic Con, and we have two of our excellent judges with us, Cannondale X and Miguel Figueroa from Toy Quest 101. They're about to look at 3 of the sculpts from our first episode, which is from FLAWED. Chuck Brown, who's an Eisner Award-winning writer, and his comic book is here. Now we're gonna turn over and we're gonna meet Cannondale X and Miguel Figueroa. So you guys have had an opportunity to take a look at the sculpts juxtaposed against the comic book. Give us your feedback, what you like, what you don't like, and then obviously we're gonna have to pick a winner here.
All right, so we're gonna be looking at a couple things here when it involves this character from FLAWED, and me and Natasha are gonna see which one is our favorite based on the things that we're looking for. So Natasha, what is it one thing that you're looking for when you're looking at all 3 of these sculpts?
So for me, the first one is going to be the dynamic pose. Are you really capturing the character? This is an amazing book, an amazing character. She is super dynamic, she's badass, and just, I mean, with vengeance, fierce as all heck. So I want to see something that really captures all of that, but then I also want to see detail. As a costume maker and cosplayer, I always love seeing the detail in the stitch work, the attention to detail in what the character is wearing, their overall wardrobe. Are you showing, like, if they're carrying a gun, are you showing a holster? Are you showing anything that has extra bullets in it? Like all the little things that this character carries and then is gonna need, but then just the attention, and then obviously just the whole look of the character, like making sure it looks like her. So that's what I'm looking for.
For me, I'm looking for that wow factor, right? So when we're unboxing and reviewing statues or toys, we always want to see what's going to gravitate the person's eyes to whatever figure we're looking at. So for me, it's the wow factor. I want to see the attention to details throughout the entire sculpt. Of course, the pose. The pose is something really big for me. I'm always a big fan of checking out the base. The base for me has to be something done as well as just the character. Like I said, I want details throughout the entire thing. So there's a couple things that we're going to be looking at when we're taking a look at each one of these sculpts. But they all came out really great. So shout out to all the sculptors. Again, the book, like she said, is amazing. The character is amazing, so I'm excited to look at it. Let's start with the first one. So let's start with this one here on the right. I'll pass it over to Natasha in a second. So this is a really dope piece so far. For me, the first thing I'm gonna look at are the wings, right? This character here with the wings on her back. I love all these details here. The more details on the wings, for me, the better it is, because it's just catching that purity in the figure itself. And of course the pose. I love the pose that she's doing. She's got her weapons out. The base, like I said, looks really good. She's on a rooftop, it looks like. And they paid attention to the details here with the brick. They didn't leave, any details out when it comes to the base. I love the hawk in the front as well. But you got a lot of cool little details here. I don't want to say all of them. I'm gonna pass this over to Natasha so she can go ahead and tell us about what she thinks about this one.
So, again, just to repeat what Miguel said, the pose here is awesome. This is super dynamic. It's obviously an action shot. She's in the middle of a fight, kicking some booty. Her gun is out, her blade is out, and then the wings, I really dig how the wings are kind of in the motion of her jumping back. So you can clearly see that dynamic pose is captured. But of course, like I said, paying attention to the details. So this particular one, the base is great. I'm loving that all the muscular features of her body are detailed. They're in there. Like her quads are like super hyper flexed in that tiny position. She's got abs. Even her forearms have details. And then her pauldron here is amazing. Like it almost looks like you could take it off. It's like a great detail in her actual wardrobe and her costume. And then her mask and her face too is really great.
Yeah, so really well said. Another thing that we want to look at, right? So these statues are obviously stationary, but we want to look at if it creates motion, right?
Yes.
So even though it's a stationary piece, it is creating motion, so that's a lot of points for this one. And speaking about telling a story while it's still a, you know, statue, let's move on to the second one. This one's really nice. I'm a huge fan of the base here. They paid a lot of details to this base. Again, it's a rooftop. It's a little taller. They did something different from the other two. But I love all the details. You see the cracked cement here. I know this is not painted, but if this were to be painted, this would look really good. But check out all the details in the windows, the stonework, everything about this base for me, I really, really like. They did a really good job with this. Now going back up to the character here, you're gonna see the wings again, the cape of the wings here, kind of in motion, right? We're talking about a stationary product here, but it does show motion with the cape of feathers, you know, up. And again, she's crouched over here on this, you know, rooftop.
Like,
and again, like she was saying, all the details. Check out her body armor. She's got all the bullets going across, you know, her chest. The feathers look good. Her hair looks good. The face mask looks good. There's a lot of good details in this one too. Very hard to pick between the two. What do you think, Natasha?
So this one is also really amazing. The attention on the details on the pauldron, you've got a little more detail than the previous piece, as well as her other armor pieces are a little more detailed. And I really like he said about the dynamic pose, you've got that in motion. You can clearly see like she just landed on like the edge of what looks like an apartment building or something. And I like here, you've got like a crack in the window. Dude, did you point that out?
Yeah.
It's hard to see from that side. But you've got the thing that I super love about these is you do have all the little extra like bells and whistles on her buckle here and her belt. You've got like a pouch here, like they're not leaving any of her actual functioning pieces out. And then the belt itself, you mentioned the bullets going across the chest is really cool. And then, I mean, that's a really cool pose. Mm-hmm. That's overall very cool. And her face looks great, her hair looks great. And I really do like the way the cape is flowing. And it's almost like twisted a little bit too. So like you can see that she came in from this way and is hopping on the edge of this building.
Yeah, really well done.
Yeah.
Another great piece. Let's move on to the third one. Natasha, you're closer to that one. I'll let you start off with that one.
So this one is really cool. It's getting that dynamic pose with it. This one feels a little simpler in the design and the motion, and I can see like I think they had a little problem putting it together, but you can still see like the feather cape coming out. It's definitely it's a little different. I feel like the base is a little more simple. Yeah, it's the top of a building, but I feel like they went a little more basic with the overall design. It is dynamic, and I'm not seeing a lot of attention to detail in her actual costume. It just seems like a little more simple piece for me.
Yeah. So this is a simpler piece compared to the other two.
Yeah.
I do like that the wings are different from the other two. That's something that you're gonna see that's not the same that I do like. The pose looks a little bit similar to the first one, but I do like how she has both weapons in her hand. And the base is pretty basic, but it does show a lot of details here on the bottom. But this is more of a simpler piece. It still gets the job done. I still think they did a pretty good job with it. Mm-hmm. But we got 3 choices here.
Yes.
They're gonna be hard to pick out which one's the best one. And we're gonna do that right now, right?
Yep.
All right, so guys, real quick, if you haven't already, make sure you check out Flawed. It's a great comic book, and it's a great story. So let's see.
Fair warning, you're gonna start reading it and then not be able to put it down.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so
Happened.
we have 3 choices here.
Yes.
We got, let's go 1, 2, and 3. For me, I think it's gonna be between the first 2. They both did a really good job expressing themselves as far as, you know, the character's concerned. I love the capes. Both capes are really good.
Yes.
I think I have one in mind, but I'm gonna let you pick out which 2 out of the 3 you think
Oh,
are
so you're
gonna...
gonna make me go first.
Oh yeah, ladies
You're gonna make
first.
me.
Ladies first.
So for me, I really love the first 2. Oops. The first 2 are definitely a little more detailed for me. And it was a hard choice. Initially, I had a favorite, and then the more I looked at it, the more I really got to like really examine it. It's gonna be the first one.
Ooh.
For me.
Ooh.
Because of the detail. the attention to detail on her body composition, on her clothing, on her overall costume, and then just the whole dynamic of it and the way this is like clearly showing that in motion, in action pose.
So although I do agree that the first one looks really, really good, for me, I actually picked the second one.
Wow.
Wow, our first episode, and it's already a split decision.
Yeah.
I like the second one just because of the overall entire piece. He did a great job with the base. He didn't lack any details in the base. He concentrated on the entire thing having, a lot of details in it. And again, it's taller too. So for me, I'm looking for that wow factor. What's going to gravitate towards, my eyes? And being that this is taller, being that the wings and the details and the base and everything's together, I'm going with the second one. The first one, though, is really, really good. So it is a hard choice.
For me, initially, the second one was my favorite. And then I really started paying attention. And as a woman who wears heels, who's jumped places, I would not have my feet in this pose.
She maybe has
she lost
superhero
me.
feet.
It lost me a little bit there. And then I'm not like trying to oversell or anything, but the attention to her clothing in this one just seems like a dress, where this one actually has parts to it.
Gotcha.
So that's why I switched from this one to that one.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to let it be up to the fans, right? What are we doing?
We got one more judge. We got Rocco.
Rocco.
Rocco gave us.
Rocco, what are you gonna say?
Wait, did he tell you already?
Well, he switched to a YouTube, so we're gonna open that up now. We don't have to record that part.
Okay.
Right this second. But we're gonna open up that YouTube. We're gonna see what Rocco had to say about the digital file.
All right. So we got.
We got a third.
We didn't pick the third one.
So we all right. So we do have a third person, Rocco Tartamella, who is a sculptor. So he's gonna know more as far as that goes, and he's gonna be the tiebreaker between our decisions. So tough one here, Rocco. It's up to you, brother. Have fun.
This is Rocco from RoccoTheSculptor.com. I'm an industry veteran sculptor with over 20 years experience, making toys and collectibles for many companies, studios, and media houses. I've been invited to be a guest judge on this first season of the Sculpt. Thank you for this opportunity, and good luck to the competitors. I'll be judging based on pose, composition, anatomy, the use of ZBrush, detailing, and if they capture the character based on the FLAWED comic book. This first submission is by Ricardo Diaz. Right off the bat, very exciting pose. I like that she's jumping down on a rooftop base. Very unique. I think it grasps the character. I like the composition of it. Good job, Ricardo. Let's take a look at some more images of this sculpt. Thank you for this submission, Ricardo. This next piece is by Kleber Sampaio. Looking at the overall piece, I like the composition of it. I like it's compact. You put a little more action in this pose. Let's take a closer look at some of the details. Thank you for your submission. This final entry is from sculptor Michael Amonche. I believe Michael used the same pose as Kleber from one of the comic book covers. Very exciting. I like the composition of it. The anatomy looks pretty good. Very tight detailing. Now let's take a closer look at the details. Thank you, Michael, for your submission. After reviewing all three sculpts, checking for all of the pose, composition, anatomy, the use of ZBrush, the detailing, and if they capture the character of FLAWED, I would say the winner is Michael Amonche. I'm looking forward to hearing what my fellow guest judges, Natasha and Miguel, have to say. Thank you to all the contestants, and congratulations to the winner of Season 1 of The Sculpt.